On today's installment of FAQ, I'm going to be answering your all's questions about gallops, music theory hacks, left-hand technique, and so much more. Hey kids, it's your good buddy Uncle Ben, and welcome to a brand new installment of FAQ, the only FAQ series co-hosted by Darla.
Say hi, Darla. Ain't she cute?
All of today's questions were submitted by my most lovely and loyal supporters over on my Patreon page, patreon.com/BenEllerGuitars. Sign up today even for just $1 a month. You're going to get access to a super extended, ad-free cut of this video, as well as hundreds of other exclusive goodies like downloadable tabs, backing tracks, bonus lessons, and so much more. It's also going to give you the opportunity to ask me some questions to get answered on the next episode, so don't delay. Sign up today over at patreon.com/BenEllerGuitars. Today I'm going to be mashing rope here on my Gibson/Victoria Les Paul. I'm playing it through my Synergy Marshall JMP, and I'm boosting that out front with one of my new favorite pedals in the world. It's the brand new Fluff Drive by Warm Audio, which was co-designed by my dear friend, Mr. Ryan Bruce, aka Riffs, Beards, and Gear, aka Brian. I'm going to put some clips and stuff of this up on my Instagram page at BenEllerGuitars. Be sure to give this thing a listen because it is freaking amazing. One of the best boost pedals I've ever played. Now let's A the F out of those Q's. So our first question today comes from my man Ryan, who says, I need help with gallop picking. Whenever I try to speed up, I keep hitting the string 4 times, trying to nail Stranded by Gojira. Okay, that's a great riff to practice your galloping stuff on because it's not too terribly fast. It's got a sufficient amount of time in between the gallops to help you refine the technique that I'm about to show you. Check this out. I don't have my trusty Digitech whammy pedal with me today, but I do have the Boss Poly Shifter, which I can use for a momentary octave up effect on that arpeggio. So whenever those French boys make some righteous noise by doing those gallops, every one of those is a 3-note burst of 16th notes. It's just down, up, down, right? But you're saying that you're hitting the note 4 times by accident, which tells me that you're probably doing the gallop and hitting all 3 notes, and then on your way to reload and get above the string to do the next gallop, you're hitting it on the way back, like that. That accidental 4-note gallop is usually caused by having a picking path that is just going too straight. And there's 2 solutions we can explore for this. Check this out. So if your picking path is too straight, then your pick is having to go through all 3 notes of the gallop and then kind of leap over the string like that to reload. That is a really unreliable picking mechanism, especially at higher speeds. It becomes really hard to control that leap to get up and over the strings. Almost as hard as it is for me to control the autofocus on my fucking camera right now. So let's help you eliminate that hop movement that you're making and get these gallops a little bit more cleaner. Now, one solution is you can keep that straight picking path that we're talking about, except for the very last note. Did you see what happened right there? The very last note of that gallop, I kind of angled the pick out and away from the face of the guitar. Whenever you do that, it's kind of building the hop into the motion. It makes it a lot easier to reload because your pick isn't trapped in between the strings. Focus. So try to keep those picking strokes straight, except for the very last one. Kind of angle that away from the face of the guitar, like you're trying to eject the pick out of the strings. An alternate to this is you can just play the entire gallop in that kind of eject position that I'm talking about. You'll notice right there my picking strokes are not straight at all. They're all kind of slicing at the string diagonally. If you're a follower of the Troy Grady cracking the code stuff like I am, you might recognize this as DSX, or downwards escape picking. This means our upstroke is going into the strings or into the body of the guitar, and our downstroke is ejecting away from the face of the guitar. Because I'm carving this diagonal path, That means after that last downstroke, it's a little bit easier of a hop just to get behind the E string again to restart the next set of gallops. See, that's a much flatter semicircular arc than it would be if I was doing this and having to really leap to get over that string again. So yeah, try the last note eject strategy or the permanent eject strategy and see which one works more better for you. And while you're at it, be sure to practice some riffs that are nothing but gallops, like She-Wolf by Megadeth. That's a great one to practice for this stuff. And even some of the mid-tempo Iron Maiden stuff like Power Slave. You'll be making noise with those French boys in no time. So I think the most asked question that I got this week is, how was it recording your debut record at glorious Sweetwater Sound Studios in Fort Wayne, Indiana, over at Sweetwater campus? And the answer was, it was absolutely fantastic. I'm thrilled with the progress that we made. The game plan here is we tracked drums out at Sweetwater Studios, which is a for-rent world-class studio that anybody can book time at. We tracked drums out there with the amazing Andy Campbell, who you can find at ACAM3000. He's my musical co-conspirator with like a million different projects. And I brought my engineer out there, Mr. Eric Hill at Iraqomania, who's an amazing, world-class, super talented dude in the recording studio and a certified member of the Cool Guy Zone. And everything went awesome. We tracked 8 songs out there, and now that I'm back at my home studio, I'm going to take those drum tracks and start recording guitars and bass for it here at the house. And I'm bringing all of you guys along for the ride. I'm going to be filming like making of stuff for the entire record and every song that I'll be putting out here. But over on the Patreon page, I've also been putting out these like studio vlogs that have been really fun, keeping everybody up to date with all the progress on that. So if you want even more behind the scenes details, be sure to check those out over on the Patreon page. But yeah, overall, I could not be more stoked. I've been wanting to do this solo album for freaking ever, so it's a dream come true to get to do this at such an amazing studio. Up next, we got a great question from my man Lance, who writes, "Hey Uncle Ben, I'm currently learning the caged system, which, with that and your fretboard hacks/tricks, is pushing my playing forward, but I'm still having trouble connecting chords to a key. Is there something you'd recommend, hack or tricks, to help learn chords that are in a specific key for rock and metal?" Yes, absolutely. There's a incredibly simple trick that I found years ago that I've used to show like thousands of students over the years how to connect chords in a key. I have a couple videos about it here on my channel, but not everybody watches every single video that I put up. Except for that one guy. I'm watching you. So let me run this one by you in case you haven't seen it. Okay, it goes like this. Step 1, learn how to play the bass line to Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones. That may seem unrelated, but trust me, you're gonna need this. Okay, in any key that we have in standard Western music, we have 3 major chords, 3 minor chords, and 1 smelly diminished chord. And there's a really easy way to find out which 3 minor chords, which 3 major chords, and which diminished chord fit into every single key. Check this out. Oh, by the way, I'm tuned down a half step, so take that as you will. I'm still going to be referring to these note names as what they feel like, not necessarily what they sound like. So when I call this A, yeah, it's actually A flat, but you know damn well what I mean. Let's say I wanted to figure out the chords that are available in the key of A. Well, start off on the note A and play me that Ramones bass line. You've just found the root notes of the 3 major chords that are available in that key. A major, D major, E major. Works that way for every key. You want to know the major chords that are in G? Start off on G, play Blitzkrieg Bop. You found the 3 major chords. Let's jump back to our original key of A here, where we figured out the 3 major chords that we have: A major, D major, E major, and that's any voicings of those, by the way. Doesn't matter what shape you use. Now let's say we want to find the 3 minor chords that are available in that key. Go down 1.5 steps from where you started. So in other words, you started here on A, go down 1.5 steps, here to F sharp. Play that Ramones bass line. You've just found the root notes of the 3 minor chords that are in that key. So in this case, we got F sharp minor, B minor, C sharp minor. And again, it works that way in every key. So let's say I wanted to know what was in the key of C. I can start off on C, find the major chords. I could go down 1.5 steps to the note A right here, play that shape. Now I found the 3 minor chords. So we found the 3 majors, we found the 3 minors. That leaves only the 1 weird, awkward, diminished chord in there, right? That's going to be available a half step below the first major chord that you found. So we start off in A, right? So your diminished chord is going to go a half step behind that. User beware. You're in for a scare. Major, minor, diminished. That's the root notes of all your chords that are in a key. Now, you said specific to rock and metal. We play in minor keys a lot in rock and metal, and this process works the same way, just in reverse instead. So let's say I wanted to know what chords were available in A minor, right, in the key of A minor. So start off on A, play your shape. You've just found the 3 minor chords that work in that key. The key of A minor has A minor, D minor, and E minor. To find the 3 major chords that work in that key, go up 1.5 steps here to C. There's your 3 major chords. So now we know in the key of A minor, we can use these 3 minors and these 3 majors. And the diminished chord is going to be available a whole step above where you started. So B diminished in this case. You could also look at that as being a half step behind the first major chord that you found. Same thing that we talked about with the major keys, but yeah, whatever floats your boat. So whatever key it is you're looking for, you've got majors, down are your minors. If you're in a minor key, you've got minors, up are your majors, and then you've always got that weird diminished chord right there. Now, did that just explode your dick or what? You know it did. My lovely patron Tom Pointer writes in asking one of the most common questions that I get about left-hand technique. This is a really important one. When playing a 1-3-5 pattern on a string, is it better to play the middle note with your middle finger or ring finger? Really, really great question. Because whenever you play 3-note per string scales, as all of us shred guys do, you end up playing those big wide stretches pretty dang frequently, like that 1-3-5 shape that you mentioned. Any of your common like Mixolydian shapes will feature a whole bunch of those in a row. So it's really important to get that big wide stretch under your mitts. Now you might have already noticed I'm doing those with fingers 1, 2, and 4, or index, middle, little finger, whatever floats your boat there. And that is what you will see most players do. I'm not going to say 100% because there's always the outliers. In this case, it's freaking Paul Gilbert. Paul is like always the dude that people point out as not using 1, 2, 4 for the big wide stretches. I don't know if you've met Paul. Paul is a huge guy. He is really tall and he has enormous hands, huge reach on those digits. So for him, those stretches are a little less cumbersome than they are for us. And there's also something that I just call the Paul Gilbert effect, which is to say, he's Paul Gilbert. He's capable of things that most of us aren't. So yeah, maybe if you're like a huge tall guy like Buckethead or Paul, you don't have to use 1, 2, 4 to make that big stretch happen. But for the rest of us mortals, you're probably going to be better off using fingers 1, 2, 4 for those big wide stretches for the matters of simple physiology. Okay, so we got our 4 wiggling digits here on the front, right? Your 3rd and 4th fingers are attached by the same tendon upwards in your arm. That's why you can't really move them all that independently of each other. Your 1st and middle finger, they have a lot of independence because they have their own tendon. These 2 guys share one, which limits their mobility, which limits their independence, and makes things like this a lot harder. And this is why it's better to use 1, 2, 4 for the big wide stretches. Because look at it this way. If I've got to make this whole step shape happen, somebody is going to get a shitty job. It's either going to be these two guys spacing out a whole step, or these two guys spacing out a whole step. I would rather put the hard job on the fingers that have full independence and their own tendon than put it on these two guys that are kind of sharing an apartment. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot harder to make those two fingers stretch the necessary means, unlike these two. I mean, just make a peace sign, right? Sorry, all my UK watchers right now. Just do this. You can probably spread this a lot further than you can these two, just by nature. That's going to be like 99% of us. Maybe you're in the 1% and you don't need to do that. But I know for myself, I'm going to put the job on these two guys just because the physiology is more better. As you do that big wide stretch, I know you can't see through the neck of my Les Paul here, but I've got my thumb kind of positioned in between my first and second fingers. So you don't want to put it behind the first finger. That's going to make these high reaches a lot harder. You don't want to put it dead in the middle. That's going to make reaching out with your first finger really uncomfortable. So try to kind of like split it like this right here. I've kind of got my thumb in between those two fingers. Probably going to make that stretch a whole lot easier. Now before we head on out the door, let's stop in at Uncle Ben's boombox to talk about what I've been jamming out to here lately. I'll be honest, this week I've not really been listening to that much. I've been listening a lot to my own demos to get ideas about guitar tones and drum parts and all that jazz. I've been jamming the audiobook of Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which has been really awesome so far. I'm also working on my script for the adult film parody Project Male Harry, and that's coming along pretty well, so stay tuned for that. I keep hearing that the movie's like fantastic, so I'm trying to read the book before I go see the movie. But before I started that, I think the thing I've been listening to the most lately is that new Converge record, Love Is Not Enough. Just came out this year and I'm like blown away. It is freaking awesome, man. Really cool guitar tones, fantastic production, killer riffs. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's a pretty tidy album. And I'll be real, like I've never been into Converge. Like I know so many people were really nuts about like that Jane Doe record and a lot of the other stuff, and I've always thought it was cool, but it was just never really my thing. So I was very pleasantly surprised to be blown away by this new record. It's got some really cool stuff, some really cool atmosphere and vibe. The bass tone rips. The guitar tones are freaking awesome, and there's all kinds of cool like weird octave effects and fuzz effects and all kinds of stuff on there. It's giving me a lot of ideas for my record and some of the unusual tones I want to use on there. So if you want something brutal with some really tasty riffage, check out Love's Not Enough by Converge. Now, did we just A the F out of some cues? I think that we did. Here on the newest installment of FAQ You. Thank you guys so much for watching, and a huge thanks goes out to my lovely and loyal Patreon community over at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars for submitting all of these awesome questions. Be sure to check out the extended ad-free cut that's got even more cool stuff in it, and grab tons and tons of bonus goodies and posts and videos and lessons and all kinds of stuff over there, even for as little as $1 a month. I'll see you guys over there. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications every time I upload a new slice of fried gold. And as you go through your week, keep a good thought, be good to each other out there. Let's make the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time. You never know how much of a difference it might make to somebody just to do one small, nice thing for them, whether that's buying them a cup of coffee, paying them a compliment on that cool t-shirt, or leaving a comment about how much you like their guitar playing or whatever. Little changes like that can make the world a better place, and it starts with you and I. Now get away from the computer machine, grab that rock guitar, start mashing some rope. Less clicking, more picking.